Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, all students. Good afternoon, Santosh. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. And welcome to the class. Good afternoon, Sanvi. Uh, Let everyone enter. Let me start the lecture as always by letting you know that you must be sending your messages to my ID with the name of Astik, simply Astik. That is my ID of my iPad, and I only can check chats on that. So if you have any doubt, anything that you want to discuss, you can send a message on this chat. Yesterday, we were having a lot of discussion, and we had around 300 messages coming to me. That's good, and I hope that 300 can be made to 400, 500, and so on. The more you participate, good afternoon, Yarika. The more you participate, the better is the class. And if you have any doubts, you can definitely ask the doubt in the class. After the class, I stay in the room for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I never log off. Good afternoon, Hannah. I never log off because I wait. If there are any doubts after the class, you can ask me then and there. Even after the class, good afternoon, Chatur. Even after the class, we have our Telegram group. So you can put your doubts there. Good afternoon, Deepak. And we will be dealing with the doubts then and there only. In today's class, today is the last class for units and dimensions. We will be finishing this chapter, which is a very important one, as I told you, for your entrance examination, because every in every year, every exam, you will find one or two questions based on units and dimensions. So we must be very thorough with this chapter. It's a very simple chapter, as you have seen, and you can score heavily in this chapter. So please remember that always in your life. Now, before going on to today's class, we always go on a recap, but I think we had done the recap in the last class. We have discussed the entire chapter in brief, in short points, and we had seen that we were thorough with the revision. Now, what will we do today is since tomorrow, I think, is your first exam that you are, or test that you are going to appear. I don't know what was the last time you appeared in a test like this. It is a test based on MCQs. Multiple option questions will be there, and the questions will be having 4 options, out of which 3 will be wrong and 1 will be correct. You would be getting +4 and -1, +4 for a correct option, -1 for an incorrect option, and obviously 0 if you don't attempt the question at all. Now, this is a series of exams that you're going to appear. As far as the schedule that we have decided, you will be having one test every week, and in 1 month you will be having a sort of a mega exam. So on an average, you will have 4 to 5 exams in a month, and you multiply it by the number of months. Bhavya, the topic will be, for the exam, the topic will be units and dimensions in physics. I don't know about chemistry and maths. Whatever you are studying till now, what you have studied till now, that will be the topic. Up to today, yes, up to today, Bhavya. So +4 -1 will be the marking scheme, and you will be having a number of exams through the entire curriculum that you are going to do. Now, before going into exam, everyone has something on his exam anxiety. We feel like excited, we feel nervous, we feel tense. It happens with everyone. So you are not a special one, or you are not the only one who faces this. I face it if ever I have to appear in an exam. Yes, Deepak, the question paper has been prepared by me and other teachers as well for chemistry and maths. Now remember, there are certain tips that you must remember, and these tips are applicable for any exam that you give on a MCQ or for your board exam or anything. So just note down these tips, keep them in your mind. and remember them whenever you appear for an exam. The first tip. Now, the first tip is basically about time management in an exam. You must know how much time is given for the paper. Normally, for your MCQ type test, it could be 3 hours, it could be 1 hour, depending on the number of questions that are set. So you must be aware that how much time you have in your hands, and you have to divide the time accordingly. For engineering students, it will be PCM, physics, chemistry, and maths. For NEET students, it would be PCMBZ, physics, chemistry, biology, zoology. That's how we segregate it. So you must know how much time you have got and how much question you have to attempt in the given time. Maybe in the first 2 or 3 exams, you will find that, sir, we had very little time. We could not manage the exam. Don't worry. It happens with everyone. This is the first time you are going to appear in such an exam, which is going to be competitive. Don't worry, it will happen to everyone. It happened to me when I gave my first exam. Don't worry. Progressively, as you go ahead, you will be able to manage time better. And that is what we need to learn from each and every exam. Remember, these exams are not the real exams. The real exam is going to happen in the year 2023 when you are going to appear for your mains or your board exams or your NEET. So all these exams are small steps that we are going to take that takes us to our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to score big in that exam. It may be 4 attempts, it may be 2 attempts, doesn't matter. That is our ultimate aim. And we have to build up slowly, and get to that stage where we score heavily in the final exam. Time management is one of them. Now, always start the paper, since it will have PCM or PC biology, start the paper with your strongest topic, strongest subject. Always attempt your strongest subject first. Whatever you think is your strongest subject, please attempt it first and try to finish it as soon as possible. In case of NEET, the strongest subject can be biology and zoology, because most of the questions you will be knowing. They will be straight answer type. You know it, you take it, you know it, you take it, you know it, you take it. On an average, what I have seen, what I know about this 15 to 20 years of experience that I have, the toppers, the students who score heavily, they normally attempt biology in about 30 to 35 minutes. 30 to 35 minutes they attempt biology. Remember how many questions are there? 45 in botany and 45 in zoology. 90 questions they attempt in 30-35 minutes. Chemistry, they normally take 40 to 45 minutes. 45 questions, 45 minutes, 1 minute per question. And the rest of the time, they basically spend on physics, because for most of the NEET candidates, physics is the toughest. So they'll attempt physics at the last, and they will try to save time from here. Time from biology, time from chemistry, and then they will put that time into physics. There's a normal trend that I've seen in the toppers that I have talked, and I have the privilege of teaching them. For PCM candidates, normally for every candidate, chemistry is the easiest topic. So they normally attempt chemistry first. That's the normal trend. They normally take 40 to 45 minutes to solve 25 questions. Now they have to attempt only 25 questions. 40 to 45 minutes they take. Then probably they will go for physics, depending on if their physics is better, or they can go for maths, depending on if their maths is better. But always attempt your strongest topic first, strongest subject first. That was hint number 2. And remember, what matters is your overall score. What matters is your overall score. It doesn't matter how much you score in bio or chemistry or physics alone. What matters is the overall score. So try to score as much as possible in your strongest topic. That will give you good marks overall. Strongest topic, strongest subject should be attempted first. The third thing is take lessons from your result. Now you must, and we would be helping you out in analyzing your results. Analyzing your results means where you have done good, where do you have not done so good, what are the topics that you must focus on. You must be taking lessons from your results. Every test, you must be making notes where you can improve. If your results are too good, don't get overwhelmed. Even if they are too good, you can make it better. Even if they are better, you can make it best. If you score 100 out of 100 in physics, then you will say, sir, how can I improve? Well, if you score 100 out of 100 in physics in 50 minutes, then you try to do it in 45 minutes. That will be your improvement. If you score less, you can always look at the questions, look at the topics in which you have scored less and work on them. And that is how I always feel that not getting such a good result initially is always good for you, because then you will improve on that topic. If you get overwhelming results, very good results, you might get over the top, you might get overconfident, and then that is not good. It's a very thin line between confidence and overconfidence. I want you to be confident, but never overconfident. Work on your results. Last point that I want to emphasize here is the topic of revision. And I would like you to tell me, what do you think about revision before an exam? What thoughts you have about revision? Do you want to revise about before every exam? What about revision before every exam? I've always got this request just before an exam, just before one class or two class, sir will all the students will say, sir, please do a revision. Please let us do a revision, quick revision, because tomorrow or day after tomorrow you must we are having exam. Yes, and revise every concept. What I feel, Tanu, okay, good. That's good that you revise. You find time for revision. For me, revising just before an exam is of no use. I have a different opinion. See, now think, when the topic is very less, when you are having very less scores, you can easily revise. Remember what will happen in the main exam when you are attempting the main exam. When you are attempting the main exam, you will have to revise the entire course of physics, chemistry, and maths or biology. 2 years, you will have to revise the entire thing. Will you be able to do it? I don't think you will be able to do it. So revision means just look at things in a very short span and see wherever you're not feeling confident, just look at those topics and then go ahead. So that was my view about attempting an exam. Yes, Vignesh, just look at it, just have a short snap. In this revision, your class notes will play a very important role. Your class notes must be very precise. So whenever you are trying to revise, go through your class notes and you are done. Am I clear with this? Okay. Now with this, let us move on to our solving of DPPs. We were solving DPP number 1 in the previous class. Do you remember that? And I think we had done up till question number 6. And we are supposed to do question number 7. Am I correct? Yes, Deepak. So let us see what is question number 7. And as you can see, here comes question number 7 from DPP number 1. What is this question? Force is applied. We are talking about force. Is applied by water stream. It depends on the density of water. Density of water, normally we use this letter rho. Rho is a Greek alphabet. We use it for density. It depends on the velocity of stream V. Cross-sectional area, someone was asking me, what do you mean by cross-sectional area, sir? Cross-sectional area is nothing but an area. When do we call it cross-section area? Let us say you have a pipe. This is a pipe. You understand what is a pipe? A pipe, cylinder. Every cylinder has a cross-section. Every cylinder has a circle at the bottom. Circular shape, circular geometry. That is known as its cross-sectional area. So cross-sectional area is nothing but an area. So velocity cross-sectional area, and density. These are the three quantities on which force applied by water stream depends on. What do you mean by this force applied on water stream? Have you seen firefighters? Have you seen firefighters? Have you seen firefighters carrying hoses? Now, when these firefighters are carrying hoses, you must have seen that there are normally two firefighters that are holding the hose, and water gushes out at a very large speed in a large quantity. You will have to hold the hose very tightly, else you will have a backlash and you will be thrown backwards, because water is coming out with a very high velocity and in very large quantity. So that applies a force on the body. Every year in school, Vignesh, they used to see. Good. So whenever something is coming out, some liquid is coming out, it will exert a force. That is the force that we have to find out by the use of dimensions. So we have to find a dimensional formula for calculating this force. That is the question, that you have to find a dimensional formula to find out this force. Now, can I have some answers? Now, can anyone tell me how are we going to do this? I have to find the force applied by water stream, and it depends on. So I can write force is equal to, yes, B is the answer, K into rho. Rho is density raised to the power of A. V is velocity raised to the power of B. And small a, cross-sectional area. I will not write A because A I have used. So I'll just write S, which is the cross-sectional area raised to the power C. I've just changed A to S so that it does not confuse between the original A and the second A. I hope you understand this. Rho for density, V for velocity, and S for area rather than A for area. Now, how do you go about it? You will write the dimensions of force, ml T minus 2. There is no dimension of K. K is a numerical constant. Density, what is the dimension of density? ml minus 3. We have seen in the last class. Yes or no? We have seen the dimension of density. Mass divided by volume. Yes, Vijay. Yes, yes, Ajay. Mass is m. Volume is L cube. So m divided by L cube. Raised to the power of A. Yes, Vignesh. V is velocity. We have dealt with velocity. LT minus 1 raised to the power of B. And we have taken S as cross-sectional area. Area is length multiplied by breadth. So length multiplied by L. Yes, Vignesh, you are correct. Length square. Length square raised to the power of C. Remember, simple things. Put them, get your answers, stay happy. What will be the next step? We all know the next step. Yes or no? Anyone has any idea about the next step? Coefficient. Yes, Ravya. Coefficient means we have to equate the coefficients. Let us look at the coefficients of M. On the left hand side, we have 1. On the right hand side, we have 1A and nothing else. So 1 will be equal to A. Congratulations, everyone. We got the value of coefficient of A. We got the value of A, which is the coefficient of density. Great. What should be the next step? The next step would be to look at L, coefficients of L. On the left hand side, if you look, the singular L is equal to 1. The coefficient is 1. On the left hand side, then on the right hand side, you have minus 3A here, 1B here, and 1 2C here. So it becomes a bit complicated. Let us write it, minus 3A. Don't worry, we'll get the answer. Plus B plus 2C. This we already know is 0. Don't worry, we'll come to it. We'll be able to get the answer. Don't worry. Just stay tight. Then we come on T. T is time ka dimension. On the left hand side, we have minus 2. On the right hand side, we have minus B. Congratulations. You get the value of B. B, I think, will be equal to 2. We know the value of A. We know the value of B. Put the value here. We should be able to get the value of C. What is the value of C? Anyone? What is the value of C? You can put the value of A and B in this equation, which is I call equation number 1. Bhavya says 2. C is 2. I don't think Bhavya C is 2. Please see it again. 1, 1, 1, 1 will be the answer. Am I correct? C will be equal to 1. I have my answer now. A will be equal to 1. B will be equal to 2. And C will be equal to 1. Look at the options. All the options are different. Just get your answer from there. So the correct option is B. K is missing. In fact, the value of K is 1. I can tell you that. K is 1 here. So the correct option is option number B. Am I correct? So what we have done here, I'll again let you know. It was given that force depends on. So we have force here. Let me use a different color pen. So we have force here. Force depends on. Rho is density. V is velocity. And S is area of cross section. So I wrote step number 1. Then I wrote the dimensions of F, MLT minus 2. There is no dimension of K. Dimension of density, ML minus 3. Dimensions of velocity, LT minus 1. Dimensions of area, L square. Raised to different powers. Density was raised to the power of A. Velocity was raised to the power of B. And area was raised to the power of C. Then simply I equated the values, coefficients of M, coefficients of L, coefficients of T, equated them, got the answer. I stay happy. Am I clear with this? Everyone? You understand this? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Can I have some raised hands so that I understand that we have understood this? Niharika says yes. Okay, I'm getting some raised hand. Great. 10, 12, 15. Great. Great. So that is the answer. That was one way of doing it. This is my way of doing it. You should solve the question correctly. Now you can also think of what you call a trick. Some people may call it trick. Let me tell you a small trick to do this question. Are we ready for this trick? Are we ready for this trick? Let us look for a trick if there is a trick. It's not necessary that every question has a trick, but some questions might have a trick. So here is a trick. Can anyone tell me what could be the trick? Without doing all this, I'm not going to do all this. I'm not actually going to solve the question. So this goes away. I'll try to use some common sense and some trick and then probably get an answer. What could be that trick? The trick is very simple. And it all depends on how fast or how quick you can do it. You calculate the dimensions of this quantity. You calculate the dimensions of this quantity, and depending on your luck, you might have chosen this quantity first. You might have chosen this quantity first. You might have chosen this quantity first. Find out their dimensions. If the dimension matches with the dimension of force, that is the correct answer. I repeat. What is the trick? There is no trick. We are just trying to apply some common sense. Shravya says yes. So there are 4 answers. The correct answer will be the answer whose dimension is the dimension of force. Find out the dimension of A, find out the dimension of B, find out the dimension of C, find out the dimension of D. Whosoever dimension is F, that is the correct answer. You may not have to calculate 4. If you are lucky enough, and you find out the dimensions of B first, you will get the answer in first step. Yes, beta. Okay, so let me just do one for you. If I calculate the dimensions of A here, rho is density, so it is ml minus 3. A is area. A is area, so it is L square. V is velocity, so it is LT minus 1. Now look at what dimension is coming. It is coming as ML minus 1, ML minus 1, T minus 1. Is this the dimension of force? No, this is not a dimension of force. So this is the wrong answer. You can similarly calculate the dimensions of other quantities and you can get your answers. Are you getting my point, everyone, beta? Do you understand the small trick that I've used here? Sir, -1 will not come. Where -1, beta? I did not get what we're saying. Okay. L0, sorry. I forgot this L. Okay, L0. Yeah, got it, Shavya, sorry. Genuine mistake. So I will have the dimension as mt -1. This is not the dimension of force. So A is the wrong answer. Try for C, your answer will not be correct. Try for D, your answer will not be correct. If by luck you did B first, you will get the answer in the first step. So that is a small trick. Small trick of using the answers to find out the question. So this is known as reverse engineering. This is known as reverse engineering. So I looked at the answer and I asked myself, from this answer, can I make the question? The question was force, find out force. So I used the answer, got the value of force. The correct one will have the correct answer. So we understand this? Everyone? Shall we move ahead with the next question? So the answer is B, and that is our correct option. So you can do it in two ways. You can either solve the question properly, or you can use a small trick. I leave it to you how you want to do it. I would be happy if you do it in the first way and not look at the answers first. Get your answer, then look at the answer. As I told you, I'll be telling you all these tricks one by one. And at the end of the curriculum, I'll tell you all the tricks in the book. So if you want to apply them, you can apply them. That takes us to the next question. And the next question is this. Question number 8. I don't know how many of you got this question correct. If the units of length and time is doubled, unit of length and time is doubled, what is the numerical value of g, which is acceleration due to gravity, will be how much? Wow, I'm getting some really fascinating answers. A is the option. That means you have solved the DPP. I'm very happy with this. If you have solved the DPP and got the answer, no matter the answer is wrong or right, it doesn't matter. The answer value doesn't matter. The only thing that matters right now is that you are attempting. Ajay got D. Okay. Some people have got A. Some people have got D. I think the answer is A. Sanvi also says A. Chatur says B. Hugged. Okay. Don't worry. We'll come to that. Deepak says A. Yes, Deepak, I think you guys are correct. I think A is the correct answer. Let us see the logic behind it. Can anyone tell me the logic behind it? Can anyone tell me the logic behind it? As I told you, beta, answers don't matter. We already have 100 some chat messages in my box, and I guess I have replied to everyone. I think the last message was from Deepak. Okay, I replied to it. Yeah. So basically, beta, what matters is not your answers multiplied by 2. Why should I multiply it by 2, Ajay? What's the logic behind multiplying by 2? That is the logic that I want to understand. That is the logic that I want to understand. That why should I multiply it by 2? That is the logic that I have to understand. Okay. Now, here is G. LHS is equal to RHS. Yes, and that logic is correct. LHS is equal to RHS. We have G. Now look at the dimensions of G. Dimensions of G is L divided by T squared. L divided by T squared. Am I correct? L divided by T squared is the dimensions of G. Now, the actual value of G is 9.8. The actual value of G is 9.8. Remember that. It is 9.8 when I take 1 meter as 1 meter. And I take 1 second as 1 second. So when 1 second is equal to 1 second and 1 meter is equal to 1 meter, you will say, sir, what are you talking? 1 second is always second, 1 meter is always 1 meter. Here the question says that we have doubled it. That is why. That is why I'm telling you this. So 1 meter is 1 meter beta. Please listen carefully. 1 second is 1 second. Then G is 9.8 meter per second square. Now what I've done here is I've doubled the unit of length. So my 1 meter now is equal to 2 meters in the original one. Time is also doubled. So my 1 second now in the new unit is equal to 2 times the previous unit. Yes, it's equal to 2 times the previous unit. Now, if you remember your notes that we have done, we had seen n into u is a constant. Do you remember this? N into u is a constant. N into u, yes sir, everyone says yes sir. Or I can say the numerical value is inversely proportional to the unit. Numerical value is inversely proportional to the unit. Do you understand this inversely proportional? Can I have some raised hand? Do you understand this inversely proportional thing? N is inversely proportional. Yes, I'm getting some raised hand. 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. Okay, great, great, great. And the numerical value is inversely proportional to unit. That means, what does that mean? If my unit becomes 2 times, please listen to me carefully, bacho. Very important concepts explained in very simple language. If my unit becomes 2 times, what will happen to my numerical value? If my unit becomes 2 times, what happens to my numerical value? What will happen to the numerical value? Please, some answers, some answers. If my unit becomes twice, what happens to my numerical value? Ajay says 1 time. No, beta, wrong. N is inversely proportional to u. Sanvi says 2 times. No, beta, 2 times is incorrect. Incorrect. My unit has become twice. My unit has become twice. My unit has become twice. What will happen to my numerical value? Decreases by 2 is correct. That means it becomes half. Not into the, it cannot remain same. See, just see here. Let me change the pencil color black. Let me make it black. No, black doesn't look good. Blue is good. For example, this becomes unit becomes 2 times of u. So my n should become n by 2. Because when I multiply n by 2 divided by 2 times of u, then I will get nu, and nu will remain a constant. Are you getting my point, everyone? Is everyone getting me? So if my unit becomes twice, my numerical value must become half. Are you getting my point? So my unit becomes twice, my numerical value becomes half. One more question on this. What will happen if my unit becomes 4 times? If my unit becomes 4 times, what will happen to the numerical value? My unit has become 4 times. 1 by 4, 1 by 4. Yes, yes, not Chaturthi 2 times. 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4. Yes, 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 yes. Reverse question now. Reverse question now. Please look at this question now. Please look at this question now. My unit has become half. My unit has become half of the previous value. My unit has become half of the previous value. Now tell me what will happen to my numerical value. I want some answers. Doubled, says Tanushri. I am sure that is the correct answer. Yes, Santosh, I hope you have understood this. That means if my unit becomes half, my n becomes twice. So basically, I just need to calculate how many times my unit has become. I repeat. That means I just have to find out how many times my unit has become. The original unit was L by T square. Listen to me carefully. The original unit was L by T square. Now what has happened? My L has become what? My L has become twice. Can you see this? Yes, 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 beta. My L has become twice. What about my T? My T has also become twice. So T squared becomes 2T ka whole squared. Are you getting me? That is my new value of G dash. That is my new unit of G dash. So it becomes, if I calculate, it becomes half of the the new unit becomes half of the value of original unit. The new unit becomes half of the value of the original unit. So what will happen to n, the numerical value? What will happen to the numerical value? My original unit was L by T square. My new unit is half of the original value. What will happen to my numerical value of G? Can I have some answers? Double. Santosh says double. Yes. My original unit has become, my new unit has become half. So my value must become doubled, and that should be the answer. Option number A, my value should become doubled. Are you getting me, everyone? Please raise your hands and tell me that you are getting me. If not, I'll give you one more question on this so that this concept becomes clear in your mind. Absolutely clear. Numerical value. I will repeat how we started. We first saw the value of G, the units of G is L by T squared. Then we understood that N into U is a constant. That means N is inversely proportional to U. If the unit becomes 2 times, N will become half. Yes, Deepak, I'll give you one more question. Don't worry. If unit becomes twice, numerical value becomes half. If unit becomes half, numerical value becomes twice. Length has become 2 times, so it is 2L. Time has become twice, so it is 2t squared. So the new unit is half of the original unit. If the new unit is half of its original unit, how much times the numerical value must go up? The new unit is half, so the original will be, so the new unit will be 2 times of the original one. I'll give you one more question because I think that this might be troubling you. Don't worry, your troubles are my trouble, beta. So I'll give you one question on this. Don't worry. Are we ready for this question then? I'll formulate the question now. Are we ready? Are we ready? Yes, sir. If the units of mass and length are doubled, if the units of mass and length are doubled, what will be the new value of density if the original density is 2 kg per meter cube? I've given you the original density is 2 kg per meter cube, and I'm asking you what will be the new value of density. So let us see who gets me the answer. I will give you sufficient time, 1 minute, 2 minutes to solve this question. I was having some messages. Let me see. Okay, beta, there is a small information that I want to share. Venkanna sir would be talking to all of you after the physics class. So please remain in the class and he will be addressing you all. Please let all your friends know that it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that Venkanna sir talks, and you must listen to him. He has got immense knowledge about all the competitive exams. Please listen to him. After my class, that is, I think my class will get over by 1:30. After 1:30, Hinduja says a half. After 1:30, Venkanna sir will be talking to all of you. Okay, so Hinduja, I wanted the value of density beta. I did not ask how many times it will become. I asked you the value, so I just made one more small addition to the question. Small addition to the question I made. So remember, beta, you should expect some addition or some subtraction from every question. You cannot expect same question, same thing always coming in the exam. If the units of mass and length are doubled, what will be the new value of density? And Santosh gives me a very nice answer, 4 kg per meter cube. So answer for Santosh, what answer Santosh got was 4 kg per meter cube. Okay, let us say kg per meter cube. It's not kg per meter cube. Okay, 4. So it becomes twice basically. So Santosh is getting the answer twice. 2 times ho gaya hai. Let us see what becomes 2 times. Satvik coming into the picture for the first time. Good afternoon, Satvik. I did not hear from you all this time. Good afternoon. Okay, so 2 times. Let us see. I'll just wait for. Okay, let me solve it. So density. Let us look about the original one. The original one has a dimension of m by l cubed. So this red one is the original one, and it has the dimensions of m by l cubed. Now, what happened to the new one? So the new one is the green one. So in the new one, let me call it as rho dash. Rho dash will be equal to mass has become twice, so 2m divided by length also has become twice. So 2l, but remember it is cubed, 2l cubed. Now if I solve it, 2 times m divided by 8 times l cubed. 2 times m divided by l times by 8 times l cubed. So this becomes 1 by 4 m by l cubed. M by l cubed is the original dimension. Now your new unit becomes 1 by 4 times of the original one. Please remember, please listen to me very carefully, beta. By doing simple calculations, we have found out that the new unit has become 1 by 4 times of the original one. So what will be the new density? The new density would be, this is 1 by 4. So it will be 4 times the original one. It will be 4 times of the original one. That means it will be multiplied by 4. So the answer should be 8 times or 8 kg per meter cube. The new unit will be 8 kg per meter. 8. Are you getting my answer? Have you understood this? Yes, sir. Everyone is clear with this? Anyone having any doubt on this? Hannah says yes. Do you want me to do any more questions, or shall we move ahead on this? Clear. Bhavya says clear. So I understand that you have understood this. You have understood this, and we'll go ahead with the next one because I need to finish this DPP today. So let me finish this one. Okay, so where were we? We were solving this TPP, and here we are again on this. So we were here, and that finishes this part. Now we come to a very interesting part, which is known as assertion and reasoning. Now this assertion and reasoning used to be a part of JEE Mains. Now for the past 2, 3 years, 4 years, it's not been coming, but it can come at any time, because this is one part which understands, which tries to make you understand what you have understood up till now theoretically. So it is more theoretically rather than more numerical based, and it makes us understand how much of the topic you have understood, and that is why I have included this particular topic, this particular section type of question in my notes and DPP. Okay. Now, have you ever seen what is assertion and reasoning? Have you ever seen what is assertion and reasoning? So assertion and reasoning Option is E. Great, great, great. So you know the options. You are very smart, all of you. All of you are very smart. You are small kids, but you are smart. Great. So basically, every assertion and reasoning, and it's a mind-bending exercise. That's why I've included here. Every assertion and reasoning has, every assertion and reasoning has two statements. Statement number one and statement number two. It has two statements. So statement number one here says that unit of torque is joule, because now statement number two will be a different statement altogether. So statement number two, you should not relate one with two right now. You should read statement number one and find out whether it's true or not. Then you read statement number two. Unit of torque should be Newton meter, and that is called joule. So there are two statements, sir. Is it syllogism? What is syllogism meter? I'm sorry, I'm not very good with English. I'm not very good with English. So please let me know what does that mean. Okay, so there are two statements, and you have to, and then you are given a choice. Choice number one is statement one is true, statement two is true, both are true, and statement two is the correct explanation of one. B, statement is both the statements are true, but number two is not an explanation of the first. Option C, one is true, two is false. Option D, one is false, two is true. Option E, both are false. So that makes us understand whether you have understood the topic or not. So let us see what is statement number one. Unit of torque is joule. Is it true or false? Unit of torque is joule. No, torque is not an energy. Joule is the unit of energy. So this statement is false. This statement is false. So this option goes away. This option goes away. This option goes away. Only left with two. Let us look at statement number two. The unit of torque should be Newton meter, and that is also called joule. Now, unit of torque is Newton meter. It is same as energy, but torque is not energy. So we cannot say that the unit will be joule. So this statement is also false. It tests our understanding of the topic. So this statement cannot be correct. So the only correct option is option E, and that is our answer. I've included this for a very specific reason. It is still in the course of NEET. It may anytime come in the course of JEE, because it is just a statement. It can anytime come. Even if it doesn't come, it makes us understand whether we have understood the topic or not. Because if it comes all of a sudden, then you might not be surprised. Sometimes they may surprise, because this is just a single option correct. They will not say we will give assertion and reasoning in JEE. It is simply one option correct. Out of this 5, one is correct. So this is still MCQ. It may not be coming as assertion or reasoning. It tests our understanding, and that is the reason it is being put here. Am I clear? You understand the reason why we are doing this? Okay, so answer is E. Now, yes, Santosh, yes. Okay, now look at the question number 2. First statement. Velocity, volume, and acceleration can be taken as basic variables. Variables mean unit. Velocity, volume, and acceleration can be taken as basic unit because, second statement, all the three are independent from each other. All the three are independent from each other. What is the answer? What is the answer? What is the answer? Answer is E. How did you get E? Yes. Now look at let us look at the second statement first. Let us look at the second statement first, because I think second statement or the first statement, depending on which statement you are comfortable, you should be taking that statement first, so that you can take out some options from here. Velocity, volume, and acceleration can be taken as basic units. Can you take velocity, volume, and acceleration? Can you take them as basic units? Yes or no? No. Why you can't? Then my question is, why you can't take them as basic units? There are two reasons why you can't take them as basic units. I discussed that question proud. Remember in the class, I discussed this question. The first is, it does not have M. Are you getting my point? It does not have M. M is missing. Very good, Shavya. Very good, Shavya. Yes. And they are not independent. So if there are only two units, you should be able to derive the third one from the first two. So there are two reasons. They are not independent and they can be derived. Velocity is related to acceleration. But that is not the correct reason. The correct reason is, with velocity and volume, with a combination of velocity and volume, you should be able to get acceleration the dimension. We are only talking about dimensions here, nothing else. So statement 1 says definitely false. This goes away, this goes away, this goes away. We are only left with D and E. Now look at the second statement. All these are independent of each other. No, they are not independent. With a combination of velocity and volume, I should be able to get acceleration. That I leave for you, how to get it. How I can combine velocity and volume and get acceleration. I leave it to you. I know you can do this. That is a question for your homework. How I can get acceleration from velocity and volume. I leave it to you. You can get it. So this option is also not correct. The correct option is E. Both the statements are false. There's a very specific reason why this question is being done, so that you are able to understand and think. Because JEE, especially JEE Advanced, will make you think. And this is a topic that this is a type of question that comes in NEET. So it's relevant to all of us. We all understand this? Question number 2, shall we move on to the last one? Okay, Shavya says yes, so I'll just move on. The answer is E. Statement number 1, statement number 2, let us get your opinion. Statement number 1 says that if two physical quantities have the same dimensions, then they should be added or subtracted. If they have the same dimensions, you can add and subtract them. Trap. This question is calling trap. Don't fall in the trap. So, can you add two quantities which have same dimensions? Remember what we said, important points. They must be same. They must be same, not same dimension. Torque. We just saw torque. Torque and work are having same dimensions, but they are absolutely different quantities. Energy also has the same dimension. That means you cannot add or subtract things which only have same dimension. They must be explaining the same phenomena. Remember, I added it in your important points on physical quantities. They must explain the same phenomena. If they don't explain the same phenomena, we can't add or subtract them. So the first statement is definitely false. Sanvi says E. Yes, Sanvi, I think E is the option. I already have around 157, 180 messages. Great. The first statement is false. So this goes away, this goes away, this goes away, and we are only left with the second statement. Let us look at the second statement. Santosh says E. I think E is the answer. If the dimension of both quantities are same, then both physical quantities should be similar. It's a contradictory statement. Torque and work. One very simple example, torque and work. Same dimensions. Absolutely different quantities. Nothing related to each other. This statement is definitely false. Both the statements are false. This goes away. The only correct option is option E. Are we getting this? Are we getting this? So this exercise, you will find this reasoning and assertion exercise in almost all the DPPs that I give you, specifically because I want you to use your brain and apply them. In this case, you were lucky that the questions were very simple. That's your pure luck, that all the options were E and all the statements were false. Most of the tricky questions in this type are when both the options are correct, and then you are in a jiffy. Or if sir, both the options are correct, then what to do? Then either statement number one, I mean option A or option B will come into the picture. Then you will have to think hard, sir, whether it's A or B, and that is a trap. Whether it's A or B, and you will get trapped there. So that was for one specific reason. Now that was all about DPP number one. Let me go and see if you can solve some questions, one or two questions from my physics का मतलब IIT JEE वाले questions का DPP. And as I told you, the question in my DPP will be more difficult than the question actually appearing in JEE. This is a question from JEE 1998. At that time, it was no mains, no advanced, it was only JEE. I gave JEE in the year, IIT JEE, it was known as in the year 1996 and 7. There are questions from 96 and 7 years also. And look at the question, which is JEE 1998. As I told you, the question in JEE are simpler. Which of the following is not the unit of length? So if you just have gone through the notes and attended the class, it's a simple cakewalk question. It will not even take 1 second to answer it. Micron, light year, Armstrong, and radian, and everyone I think knows the answer, and the answer is B. Chaturya. No. B. Light year. The distance traveled by light in 1 year. We discussed it twice. Distance is the unit of distance. Light years in astronomy. When you're talking about distances in space, you talk about light years. The galaxy is billions of light years wider and longer, and this light year is all the other three are units of length. Micron and Armstrong are very, very small units. Light year is a very big unit. Radian is an angle. It does not have any units or dimension. It is the measure of angle, plane angle, solid angle, supplementary units. Only 2 units. Remember, again, mark my words, only 2 units which have no dimension, but they have units. We had a question in the previous DPP where everyone of you made a mistake. Is it possible that a physical quantity has no dimension but units? Only 2 such quantities exist. Only 2 such quantities exist, which are radians and steradians, plane angle and solid angles. Okay, again, I would like to remind you, since my class is getting over, that after my class, yes, the option is D. Option is D. So there were a few questions that I wanted to discuss, but I think we have run out of time today. No, not a problem. The solutions are there with you. And if you have any doubts, you can always come to me. I'm always there. I'm always there to help you out. So I'll finish the class here.